I don't want to start off with a big gun, so to speak. Instead, I'm going to work my way up to what really sold WuWa's 1.3 update for me. You see, initially, while I was excited for it, I wasn't ecstatic, so to speak. Really, I was just glad we were going to get a new update, a new region, and finally get a new healer. However, nothing could have prepared me for what was in store. You see, when I booted it up, I immediately started pulling on Shorekeeper in a poll party with some friends, and I got her. I finally won a 50-50. You see, up to this point, I had only ever won another 50-50, and that was my initial copy of Jinsei. So you could say that I was a bit nervous and apprehensive about pulling. So much so that I had my card on hand and ready to throw money at the game to guarantee I got the new best waifu. More on that later. Anyways, after I won, I was over the moon. Sure, I had to go to pity for her weapon, but finally, I could retire Verena. Something that I did for all my overworld teams literally instantly. After that, I started the story and finally reached the Black Shores. So, let me just talk a bit about this masterpiece of an area. The Black Shores Archipelago is the latest region to be added to WuWa. I gotta say, they really knocked it out of the park with this area. While it's not as big as Mount Firmament, you can feel the attention to detail and care they put into the entire area. The beautiful contrast of blue and violet, the ambiance, and everything blends together for a surreal experience that leaves you coming back to the area and leaves me wondering, what's next? How can they possibly top this? Along with the colors and ambiance, I can't forget the backdrop. The way the sky blends with the area is magnificent and creates a perfect picturesque moment. Now, I mentioned the story earlier, and that's honestly what really hooked me on this update. What sold me on 1.3 as a whole. Since we'll be talking about story, there will be some spoilers, so if you don't want to hear them, click off, finish the story, and then come back. You back? Good. Then let's get into the story section of WuWa 1.3, and why I loved it so much. Almost immediately into the story, we find out that someone, who we later find out is Shorekeeper, has been watching us this whole time, and waiting for us, unknown to Rover, of course. It's just how important the Black Shores really is to him. And more importantly, Shorekeeper. After we wake up on the archipelago, we meet our good buddy Alto again, and do some stuff. After which, it turns out we sorta helped fucked up the system with a virus-like entity. At least, that's how I perceived it, and best could describe it. Soon enough, we meet the gorgeous bombshell of a woman Shorekeeper, who welcomes us back home. After that, they continue to expand the plot, and the relationship between Rover and Shorekeeper. It's this relationship that really caught me off guard. You see, typically most gachas don't touch the romance aspects due to the fact that the brain-dead parasocial virgins will have it in their head that a certain character is only for them. The gachas that do touch the romantic aspects really only display relationships that are only skin deep and don't really have any feelings attached to them. Enter Shorekeeper. You see, at a certain part in the story, she questions her feelings and whether or not it's love, right before she sacrifices herself for Rover, saving him from a black hole. Of course, Rover, being the Giga Chad that he is, says fuck the system, followed by what I could only call the most epic few minutes of parkour and cinematic masteries to ever grace a gacha game ever, where Rover is sliding down a frozen mountain, running on walls, dodging and even running on moving goddamn trains. All of this just to save his woman. This followed by Rover making the Tetha system his bitch and taking his girl back by force. After this, she apologizes for putting him in harm's way. All she wanted, after all, was to protect him and stay by his side. Soon after this, the story wraps up with Shorekeeper asking to walk the same path as Rover. Now that we've talked about this, let's talk about my thoughts about the story as a whole. It's clear to me, and I know a bunch of people agree with me, that they made her feel like Rover's wife. Straight up made her the wife. Like, she's the chosen one as foretold by the scrolls. And honestly, I'm not complaining. Before this, I didn't think anyone could dethrone Jinsei for my personal favorite waifu, and character overall in Wuthering Waves. But Shorekeeper took those expectations and kicked them off the goddamn cliff. She forced her way in and made herself my new favorite character. She really is the perfect wife. Now, on top of all of that, those lucky enough to have pulled her, leveled her to 90, then you know she straight up confesses her love to Rover. It's no wonder he didn't hit on Jinsei and Chang Li. It's because he's taken! All jokes aside, this story was beautiful and cinematic, and perfect. I'm excited to see what else Kuro is cooking up for the future patches, and I hope everyone who wanted a Shorekeeper got her. And with that everyone, if you liked the video, please hit that like button and hit subscribe as well, as it really helps me out. I have a Discord where we talk all kinds of Wuthering Waves and Punishing Raven nonsense. With that everyone, take care and I'll see you on the next video.